Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Another day, another video. Let's have a look and see what there is today. Teofimo Lopez defends his WBO super lightweight strap this weekend against Gervonta Ortiz. Gervonta Ortiz is the guy that pushed Loma all the way a couple of years back. I gave Loma a lot of problems in that fight, but that was at 135 pounds. Obviously this fight's at 140, and Teo's actually quite a big 140 guy now. So I think he might be a bit too small for Teo. That being said, this is the kind of fight that Teo struggles with. And what I mean by that is, of recent anyway, the fights where Teo goes in as the favourite, he kind of finds himself in a bit of problems. Obviously, we saw that with George Kambosos, and we certainly saw that with Sandor Martin. The fights where he goes in maybe as the underdog, that's when Teo really shows how good he is. Josh Taylor, maybe underdog, certainly underdog against Vasily Lomachenko. So, look, we'll see what Teo brings to the table this weekend. I'm a big fan of Teofimo Lopez. I think he's really sold himself in the last couple of weeks. He's been doing the media rounds. He's been calling out Terence Crawford. He's been calling out other guys at 147 as well. And I like the Terence Crawford call out. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Teo, for me, is the best 140-pounder out there. I think he's in front of Devin Haney just because of that Josh Taylor win and because he's been in the division a bit longer. So I have no problem with the best 140 guy calling out the best 147 guy. Is he going to get the fight? Probably not, but I still don't have a problem with the call out. Timothy Bradley, Joshua, do what you're supposed to do. Show these MMA guys how we do it. Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, this fight is fast approaching. We're only about a month away now, March 8th. Look, Joshua should get the job done. He should. I mean, and look, Ngannou looked good against Tyson Fury, right? But Joshua's looked good of recent as well. And I think he looks that extra bit special, or maybe he's got what he was missing back with Ben Davison. Look, it won't be easy. Again, I did the face-off, which I think is going to come out next week. Ngannou's a lump. He's a lump that can hit hard. And so far, I think we've seen that he can take a smack as well. Or at least I've seen. I've covered his fights in the UFC for a few years, and he gets hit hard there with the smaller gloves, and he can take one. So it's not going to be easy, but look, I think Joshua should get the job done. Late stoppage, I'm going for AJ. Sad news, I didn't really speak about this the other day, did I? Sad news the other day that Carl Weathers, Mr. Apollo Creed, for you Rocky fans, passed away a few days ago. Yeah, you know what it made me do? It made me go and watch Rocky 1 and Rocky 2 again, and he was such a good actor. I mean, he, not just that, but technically he looked good as well, didn't he? Like, you watch some of these boxing movies now, and you're like, the guys don't really look that good. Carl Weathers looked good. He looked the part. He spoke so well. I remember him for a film called Action Jackson as well. I don't know if you guys have seen that. If you haven't, go and check that one out. And Predator as well. He's done so many good films, and it was sad. Sylvester Stallone put out a little video on his social media, I think a couple of days ago, just talking about it as well. And you could tell that he was holding back tears. So yeah, it was sad to lose Apollo Creed, and hopefully, I don't know what big boxing events are coming up, like real big ones. Hopefully they can, I know he was an actor, but hopefully they can do a little tribute to him. I'm a big fan of Carl Weathers. I don't know what to make of this Conor Benn, Gervonta Davis thing. I wasn't going to do a video on it because, again, I don't know what to make of it, but it seems to be growing legs a little bit. Look, I'll put it out there straight away. Do I think the fight's going to happen? No, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Gervonta Davis is a 135er who, yes, had a fight at 140, but looked very undersized against Barrios. Got the job done, but very undersized. To ask him to then go up to 147, I mean, he's just too small. It's too small. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look, the guy clearly has power and pop and boxing skills and boxing IQ. He's been doing this a long time. Gervonta Davis is 29 now. Fantastic amateur record as well. So he can clearly, he's got enough skills to go up, but he's given a lot away in size. So those are a few problems straight away. And I think we saw this the other day. Conor Benn weighed in, I think it was on the night, around 175 pounds against Pete Dobson. So Conor Benn is not just a welterweight, he's a big welterweight as well. So that's the problem. Al Heyman, Eddie Hearn's a problem. I mean, I don't think these guys have ever worked with each other, at least not of recent anyway. So I don't see how that works. That being said, Oscar and Al worked together for Ryan versus Gervonta. So money and the amount of O's on a check can put problems to the side, but that's a problem. And then DAZN, what is it now? PBC, Amazon Prime, that's a problem as well. So there are a few issues there. But I mean, these guys have gone back and forth on social media for the last couple of days. Eddie's got in touch with Gervonta. Gervonta, I think, reached out to Conor Benn and said, look, shut up, or something along those lines. Let me and your boss talk. So there seems to be a conversation. I don't know if it's a big fight. Like, I don't know if the O's on the check are enough to put all those problems that I just mentioned to the side. But, I mean, they're talking about it. And I did say this the other day about Gervonta. Who's he fighting? Who's Gervonta fighting next? I know he had some problems outside the ring. Hopefully those have all been put to side now, and he can just concentrate on boxing. But there isn't an obvious name for Gervonta to fight. There isn't, is there? It's a weird one. Like, you'd like to think Gervonta would be chasing the belts, but I don't think he necessarily cares about that. I really don't. Gervonta's not had a legit world title fight since 2020, Leo Santa Cruz. Yet you could argue that he is, alongside Canelo, the face of boxing. So, these new guys coming up. Look, the old school guys clearly love the money as well. But they love the money as well as actually fighting for world titles. I think the new breed of boxers are more about, the O's on the check. And maybe there's enough money out there for this fight. Maybe. Again, I'm not quite sure, but you guys have seen for yourself the back and forth these guys have had. And then you look and you think, okay, who next for Conor? And again, Conor just wants as much money and to be in the biggest fights. That's what he wants. I mean, he's always called them out. Has he had those fights yet? No. But you guys have seen what I've seen. Every time he wins or every time he's in training camp, he's only calling out the big names. This would be the biggest name. But I think it's very, very unlikely. Like, I give this a 10% chance of getting off the ground. And the only reason I say 10 is because, again, these fighters want to get paid, and there could be something in this. There could be. I don't know if the American audience know Conor Benn very well, but I think it's fair to say Conor would sell that fight at the press conference and the face-off and everything else that comes with it. I don't know. It just intrigues me a little bit. And then I guess there will be some of you that will say Conor has absolutely no chance, right? Most would say that. But again, Conor is a lot bigger than Gervonta Davis. Does Gervonta Davis's power go all the way up to 147? I don't know. Can Conor take Gervonta's power? Does Conor have enough power to trouble Gervonta? Some of you will say on recent outings, no. But again, he's been fighting guys that are naturally 154 pounders. I mean, Gervonta's a 135er, 20 pounds difference. So, look, we'll see how this plays out. Again, I don't think it will happen. I think Conor Benn will have another fight, maybe just above what he's just recently fought. I mentioned Blair Cobbs the other day. There are a few others out there as well. There's loads of 147 guys he can fight. And maybe this is one for the future. We'll see. What I do want to see, and what I hope comes out of this, at least, is that... Sorry, I just put my washing machine on. Bad timing, I know. What I do hope comes out of this is that there is some sort of working relationship between Eddie and Al. I think that's what we need. We've seen now that there's a working relationship between Frank and Eddie. I think we've seen for the last few years there's been a working relationship between Bob Arum and Eddie, although it's quite splintered. Eddie and Oscar. The only one we haven't really seen, Oscar and Al, the only one we haven't really seen is Eddie and Al. So look, we'll see what happens. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but it is quite fun. Nicholas Walters versus Joseph Adorno, Crossroads bout eyed for March 27th in Plant City, Florida. Jeez, I didn't even know Nicholas Walters was still fighting. I mean, Nicholas Walters, all I remember him, he was called the Axe. I think it was called the Axe Man. I think he was Jamaican fighter. Basically said no more against Vasily Lomachenko years ago. Oh my God, that was in 2016. He next fought in 2023. Crazy. He's had a couple of fights against nobodies. He fought a guy called Luis Marmol, who was 19-16, and Ronaldo Esquivia, who is 9-21. I didn't realize he took that long out the ring. That's crazy, man. Maybe like he just questioned everything after that Loma loss. That's crazy. But yeah, he's back, and we'll see. How old is he? 38. It's done, innit? It's done. A couple of light heavies are back this weekend. I saw someone tweet and say, who is the best light heavyweight in the country? The ones that are back this weekend: Anthony Yarde's in action. Craig Richards is back as well. Really happy for Craig. He's just been so unlucky with injuries. He's now with Shane McGuigan as well. We'll see what both can do. As for who is the best light heavyweight in the country, I guess right now it's a toss-up between Boatsi. I don't know. I mean, you could probably still put Callum Smith in there. Boatsi, Yarde, Callum Smith. And then there's the guys underneath, Richards, Aziz, etc. I saw someone put Ben Whittaker's name in that as well. Ben's not there yet. I mean, obviously not there yet. Ben's getting a lot of love, you know. Ben's getting a lot of love from the States. Shakur Stevenson tweeted about him today as well, that he loves his style, blah, blah, blah. Again, he's all over America. So many American outlets, big, not boxing outlets, sport outlets are talking about Ben Whittaker. So he's done what he needed to do. And it's funny, actually. I was thinking about this. Even with Conor Benn, as much as Conor Benn's performance has been ridiculed, you're talking about him. Like, the worst thing, I guess, for a boxer is to be in a position where no one talks about you. No one. You almost still want your name to be trending. Good or bad, you want it trending. Ben Whittaker and Conor Benn have had that in the last couple of days. Where are we? Anything else? Khalil Ko. I want to face guys like Boatsi, Yarde, Craig Richards. Have no problem proving myself. Eddie did say Khalil Ko's the guy that won on the weekend. Good amateur. Now 8-0-1. The one draw. Eddie did say after the fight that he wants to get him to the UK. Craig Richards is a possibility. But if you're Craig, why fight Khalil Ko? You know, you're not going to get much out of that. Carl Froch, not convinced that Fury will be ready in time for new date with Usyk. Yeah, that May 18th for a cut like that. What we know, February 6th, March 6th, April 6th, May 6th. Cut like that, plastic surgery, you're going to be out. You ain't going to be doing nothing for 6 weeks. Then you have to check out and see if it works with sparring. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. I do wonder if they maybe should have switched Bivol Beterbiev dates and give Fury another couple of weeks. But I do think the Bivol Beterbiev's date, the June 1st, is the earliest that Beterbiev can fight because Ramadan. So maybe not. What else have we got? This is more like it for Conor Benn. Conor Benn, if we could make that fight with Mario Barrios next, I'd be over the moon. That's the one. That's a perfect fight to see where he is, because Barrios is tough. Barrios is so big for 147. I could not believe when I met him in Vegas a year ago. I met him just before the Ugas fight. I couldn't believe the size of him. I was like, bear in mind, he used to fight at 140. I can't believe what some of these fighters walk around that and then kill themselves to get into a weight class. But that's a good one. Again, Barrios beat Ugas. Barrios lost to Gervonta Davis. That's a great fight. If that's next, that's risky for Conor Benn. But he would get a lot of respect from the American public and just the boxing public as a whole if he were to beat someone like Barrios. Great fight, that one. Timothy Bradley, Munguia is everything Canelo Alvarez wishes he was with the fans. That's bullshit. What? I do not understand that at all. I don't understand where that dig has come from. I mean, Canelo gets a lot of love from the fans. There is a small minority of Mexicans that for some reason haven't gravitated to Canelo, but I mean, you only have to look at how many people turned up for his fight against John Ryder, how many people have turned up for his fights in recent years against everyone, the pay-per-view numbers he does. He's good. He is good right now. That's a stupid statement from Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley loves to be controversial for no reason sometimes. I wonder what Shakur Stevenson's thinking and doing right now. Obviously, look, he announced his retirement, but he still seems to be firing shots at every fighter he can. He'll be back. He just must be frustrated. This is a guy that is Was he a 2 or 3 weight world champion? 126. 3, right? He's 126, 130, 135, right? Am I going mad at that? Or am I completely wrong? I don't think I am. Let's have a quick look. Just 2 secs, peeps. I just want to make sure I've got this right. Yeah, 3 weight classes, featherweight, lightweight, and featherweight. Yeah, featherweight, super featherweight, and lightweight. Yeah, he's a fighter that is, again, a 3 weight world champion. And is it 3 or was it 2? No, it's 3. Yeah, 3 weight world champion, and he almost feels like he can't get the fight. Like the one fight he has had, and it was a good one, very good win, Oscar Valdez, and he would have thought, I'm going to kick on from that. He had a poor performance, yes, we know, against Edwin de los Santos. He got a lot of stick for that, and he almost seems fed up because he tomorrow would fight Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, the lot of them, and it's like he can't get them. And this almost kind of is a mirror image of how Terence was under Bob. Like Bob's a great guy, and he's been in the sport a long time, so you've got to show him some respect. But this was Terence as well. Terence couldn't fight those guys on the other side of the road. And only right at the end of his career, i.e. now, is Terence being able to kind of get those fights. And Shakur doesn't want to be in that situation. So it'll be interesting to see what Shakur does. I think his contract with Bob runs out next year. And he might, it's not a good thing to do. How old is he? 25, 26? 26. It's not a good thing to do, but he might just sit it out, and just wait for that contract to finalize and then finish, and then just switch it up. All right, guys, girls. Anyway, we are done. Peace and love.